All right, so welcome back to another episode of Inside IALR. I'm Caleb Ayers, and today we're here with Dr. Julie Brown, who's the Vice President of the Advanced Learning Division. Dr. Brown, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Caleb.
So first, I was just going to open it up, have you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then also provide sort of just like a 2-minute high-level overview of, what does the Advanced Learning Division do here at IALR?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for the opportunity to share some of the work of the Advanced Learning Division. We have a tremendous team that's really focused on building STEM capacity in the region, so science, technology, engineering, and math. Working to connect employers to emerging talent, so how we're developing talent pathways for students so that they can take advantage of the high-skill, high-wage employment opportunities that are here in the region, and then also creating a culture in the region that can take advantage of lifelong learning opportunities. As technology is changing so rapidly, how are we creating opportunities for individuals to learn those emerging technologies?
No, absolutely. And I know you all have a lot of different programs and a lot of different offerings. So I think that's good to just break it down in the high level, what are those big picture items? And we can sort of go through each of those and talk about, what are some of the programs that that fall under those. So let's start with STEM capacity. You mentioned that's a big part of it. That's science, technology, engineering, and math, as you said. So what does that mean for what we do? What does that mean to expand STEM capacity, and why does that matter?
Okay, sure. So building STEM capacity, what that looks like for us here at the Institute is summer camps where students get to engage with robotics, automation. We talk to them about artificial intelligence. We allow them to design and create. Another way we build STEM capacity is we support the Piedmont Governor's School for Science and Technology. That is a half-day program for Danville City and Pittsylvania County students. In addition, a very similar program is the Academy for Engineering and Technology, AET. That is very engineering focused, and we do find that about 70% of those students do pursue engineering degrees afterwards. So that gives you an idea of some of what this building STEM capacity looks like.
And as far as, for the impact of that, why is it important that, you mentioned STEM camps. I know it's elementary students. Like, why is it important to bring those concepts in that early and all the way throughout high school as well? Right.
Making sure that we have those opportunities available even pre-K through post-secondary experiences is because we know the jobs of the future are going to require those STEM skills. Helping students feel confident with math, teaching that in a hands-on way, in a relevant way for students so that they have the skills and aptitude to be successful in their future careers, and really to give them confidence in those areas, help them see that, yes, they are smart enough to understand these concepts, especially when we teach it in a relevant way and we connect it to opportunities that are here. Part of the big picture of our work is we want our young people to have the same high-quality experiences as students get to have if they live in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And you mentioned opportunity, what we want students to have opportunity. So talk to us a little bit more about the GoTech program.
Great. So GoTech, it stands for Great Opportunities in Technology and Engineering Careers. That program is really our talent pathway initiative to ensure that we are exposing students earlier on in their academic career to the career opportunities that are available in this region. And when I say this region, I'm talking about 15 different localities across the broader Southern Virginia region. To make sure we're exposing them early on, they understand what some of these careers are. They have a relevant hands-on learning experience that could either support that exposure or give young people a sense of what they might do in that job, and then show them the academic pathway that they can pursue. And we do that starting in middle school. So right now with GoTech, it is talent pathways that are focused in advanced manufacturing broadly. So that includes welding and precision machining, automation robotics, coding, additive manufacturing or 3D printing, making sure middle school students have access to equipment, that they can have a hands-on experience to understand if they like something or if they don't, and then show them if they're interested in those pathways. Okay, this is the courses that you would take in high school. These are the college opportunities, whether that's through a community college, a higher education center, or a four-year university, how they can complete the academic requirements for that pathway. And then what are the jobs that are going to be here for them in the region? We want them to stay in this region. So how do we talk to them about the companies, what wage they can expect, and where those opportunities are?
I think, I mean, you mentioned the middle school labs. We have the training lab here at at IALR for where the teachers come to, learn that equipment to then go out into the middle schools. Every time I walk in that lab, I'm like, this is so cool. Just for those who haven't been, there's a virtual reality welding machine, there's 3D printers, there's all kinds of cool equipment that middle schoolers are getting to experiment with and learn about. And as you said, all with the idea of, showing what those opportunities are here in the region. And that's what's really cool about that.
Right. Absolutely. And again, you mentioned that the training lab, this is a program that we started here in our region with pilot programs in Pittsylvania County and the city of Danville. So started in 3 middle school classrooms. This past year, we were in 25 middle schools across the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're getting ready to stand up 3 additional training labs in Southwest Virginia, Central Virginia, and the Greater Hampton Roads region. I think there's a realization that we absolutely need to show students that today's manufacturing is not what their parents or their grandparents experienced. It is very technical. It is highly automated. The importance of having programming and coding skills for these jobs of the future, and how we give students, again, a hands-on learning experience that really can help them earlier on kind of start thinking about what they like, what they don't, and start making some of those career choices.
No, absolutely. We started this conversation talking about expanding STEM capacity. So a lot of those things wouldn't fall into I guess the technical definition of STEM, what you're talking about with additive manufacturing, or I know we even have a controlled environment agriculture. There's a lot of different modules that are in GoTech. So do you want to talk about that part of it, about how there's a lot of, I guess, just different modules and why there are different modules?
Sure, absolutely. So GoTech is, again, really focused on, again, STEM jobs. I would say every pathway that we discuss is really a STEM, science, technology, engineering, or math focused, or it requires those skill sets. But it is directed at specific career occupations. And so, again, with the 3D printing, it's not just how you program the 3D printer or build something. So there's a design piece to that. But there's also material science, because that's where the innovation is going to come. That 3D printing technology is fairly standard, but the innovation of the future is going to be, okay, what materials can you use to print? And whether that's powdered titanium, they're printing organs. They're printing food on demand. So having students, again, understand where innovation is going to come from, and they are so creative. So giving them opportunity to design and create and innovate. We're teaching entrepreneurship with this program too. The other modules, all of them really focus on traded sectors. And so again, these occupations that really are the drivers of our economies regionally, across the state and nationally. Some modules that we've added recently based on demand, and even some differences we see in regions. We've added the precision agriculture, so food manufacturing. How are we going to feed everyone on this planet? So again, and how do we use technology to do that? And so very quickly, we were able to purchase a vertical farming unit. It's small. It doesn't take up a lot of space in a classroom. It's not messy. And you can actually plant seed and harvest fruit, vegetables, leafy greens within 9 weeks. But But again, we're able to talk to students about PLC. There's a PLC and electrical current and nutrients for the plants and life cycle and biology, but it's also a manufacturing process. And again, that's connected to a local business. We have aero farms in our community. So again, it gives us opportunity to talk to them about employment opportunities at air farms. This is what a job would be there, and this is some of the skill sets you would need and some of the work that you would be doing there. We've added non-destructive testing. So again, with some of the other program initiatives that you're going to hear about through these podcasts, such as ATDM, again, how are we talking to students about how non-destructive testing, material science, and connecting those things to, again, employment opportunities that are going to be available to them in regions. Another unit that we've added is energy. And talking to them about, again, in middle school, at a very basic level, like having them build a Beekman motor. So how do you create energy, right? You got to get electrons to move. You got to get a blade to spin, right? So you start at a level that's appropriate with their learning and connected to something they're learning in their other classes, whether that's a math class or a science class in middle school, making it relevant to their lived experience. So again, what would a 12-year-old, what would their lived experience look like? And how do we connect learning to that? But to give you an idea of how GoTech will work across regions as students progress, so by 8th grade, they may be doing a capstone project. In our region, that capstone project might focus a little bit more on solar energy. In the Greater Hampton Roads region, that capstone project might focus more on wind energy. Students in Southwest Virginia, they might start talking to them about microreactors. So again, the opportunity to standardize some of the curriculum, the equipment at a certain age level, but then also honor and validate the industry sectors that are present in that region of the Commonwealth where students are learning and where they want to keep their young people too.
Right.
Our number one priority should be keeping our young people, our emerging workforce in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Number one, and then secondary to that, I know most of our regions are really working hard to make sure their young people that live in their communities see opportunity.
That's an important part of, I talked with Telly in the last episode about how everything we do ties back to economic transformation, economic growth, and what you're saying is absolutely ties into that. If there are opportunities for people and they know about those opportunities, then that's a good start.
Here's what's happening at IALR. Learn from agricultural bioscience experts at the AgBio 2023 conference hosted at IALR on July 19th. Called Innovations in Ag, a Regional Perspective, the event will bring together industry leaders, farmers, policymakers, agribusiness stakeholders, universities, and public health organizations from North Carolina and Virginia. This half-day conference is co-hosted with Virginia Bio and NC Bio. Learn more and register at virginiabio.org. The Accelerated Training in Defense Manufacturing Program, also known as ATDM, is actively recruiting more than a dozen positions for instructors, technicians, and other staff. The program provides rapid training for adult learners, preparing them to fill critical vacancies across the defense industrial base. Focus areas include welding, additive manufacturing, CNC machinery, non-destructive testing, and quality control inspection, or metrology. Learn more and apply at atdm.org. IALR's Vice President of Economic Development, Linda Green, won a Women in Leadership Award. Linda joins 36 other executives as one of the winners of this year's Virginia Business Women in Leadership Awards. Linda is also the Executive Director of the Southern Virginia Regional Alliance, an economic development organization that serves much of Southern Virginia. Congratulations to Linda on this recognition. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin announced a $1.15 million grant award to expand the Career Connection Labs for the Great Opportunities in Technology and Engineering Careers, or GoTech program. The funding will be used to develop Career Connection Labs in middle schools across Go Virginia Region 4. IALR is using funding for Go Virginia to expand the GoTech framework across Go Virginia Regions 1, 4, and 5. The GoTech framework began in Go Virginia Region 3 and creates dependable talent pipelines in strategic sectors. This pipeline starts with Career Connection Labs for middle schoolers. We have relaunched our monthly newsletter, IALR at a Glance. Sign up to get all the essential updates delivered right to your inbox. You can subscribe and view recent newsletters at ialr.org/newsletters. You can keep up with all of our programs and updates at ialr.org/news.
We talked a lot about, STEM capacity and expanding STEM capacity. And I think in a sort of similar, this sort of ties into GoTech as well, but your other, initiative of, connecting students to employers and basically, those talent pathways, I guess would be the word for it. So tell me about Empower. I know that's sort of a big picture framework that you all use to sort of house a lot of your programs. So tell me about that, the steps in that and some of the programs involved.
Yes, Empower really is a systems framework, and it's how we think about connecting our employers and engaging our employers in their own talent and recruitment solution. And so what that looks like for us is helping with Career Expo events, where we've got 4,000 students coming to the Old Dominion Ag Center in Chatham for a 2-day event to engage in a hands-on learning experience provided by an employer so that they're seeing those employer names and they're hearing about some of these job opportunities. So again, it's exposure events like our Career Expo. We do something called Aspire, which is our mock interview days, where students are given a 20-minute mock interview with an employer. We've had employers use that as an actual interview. Students also go through some speed sessions on work readiness topics that employers have informed, whether that's how to appropriately communicate with a supervisor, how to dress for success, what a great resume looks like, making sure they're hearing these messages not from parents, not from a teacher, but from an employer in the region that's talking to them about how important some of these work readiness skills are. That looks like internships. So how are we supporting internships for high school students, for college students, and doing that at scale, and thinking about big picture questions. And I'll give you a good example of one of those. It says, what would it take if we wanted 100% of our high school students to have had a high quality work-based learning experience by the time they graduate? We know those numbers. So if that's 100%, how many students are we talking about? And then how many could we place in an internship? How many of them are benefiting from a part-time job? How many of them could be in a youth registered apprenticeship? So the work that we do, we focus on programs. So it's an expo event. It's an Aspire mock interview day. It's our Next Generation of Work, which is a Shark Tank experience for students where employers pitch a problem and students present solutions. We approach our work through programs, but we also ask some of those big questions, that systems level thinking of, if this was our big goal, what would it take to get there? If it's important to the region, what do we need to do to actualize that? So yeah, Empower is just a tremendous framework because GoTech is a career exposure, but it is that academic and skill preparedness pathway to make sure students understand that and they're going to be developing the skills and the knowledge and the abilities they need to be successful. Empower kind of runs parallel to GoTech and really is that employer engagement side. It's those two things working in tandem that's where we think the magic's going to happen.
No, and that's really cool. I mean, how you're talking about that it's industry informed, that, it's not just you guys deciding, here's what we're going to do. It's very much that there's input and buy-in from those different organizations and businesses.
Absolutely.
I do, I think that's interesting how you're talking about that it's all very, systematic and systems based, and it's not just, deciding to do one thing, but it's very systematic. It's very collaborative with industry, with other organizations. So I want to get to the last focus area that you all have as lifelong learning and service opportunities, sort of tied together. So tell me a little bit more about, sort of those those program areas, what does that look like?
Absolutely. So I'll start with service learning. So Empower really is designed, the Empower framework is designed to drive towards work-based learning, but we also think it's important to validate and honor the skills that young people and adults develop just through a service learning experience. And so we're very proud. We support 2 AmeriCorps programs. If you've never heard of AmeriCorps, AmeriCorps is like a domestic Peace Corps. It's a service opportunity. It's sometimes individuals will talk about taking a gap year to do some service, to really think about what do they want to do. And we think that is important for a lot of young people. Sometimes they feel a lot of pressure once they graduate from high school to go straight to college. I'm supposed to go to college. Well, maybe if you're not exactly sure what you want to do, take a gap year. Do some service in your community. Get that on your resume. AmeriCorps, we have 2 programs. One is called Dan River Year. It's focused on the STEM capacity piece and honors that literacy is very important in that STEM learning. If students can't read and understand a math problem, again, it's not that they don't understand the math, they may have a literacy challenge. And so again, our AmeriCorps members are working in middle schools, they're helping with nonprofits to tutor students, to provide hands-on STEM learning, but also just to work with young people to make sure their literacy is where it needs to be and provide some tutoring and supports to really mentor those students and help them in that area. The other program is called REACH AmeriCorps, so it's a public health AmeriCorps program where we have AmeriCorps members that are providing health workshops in the community to really help connect people either to a community health worker or talk to them about how to maybe manage some of their personal health issues, or talk to them about physical activity and the importance of that, or getting your checkups regularly. AmeriCorps members are provided a stipend for their service opportunity. And in addition, if they successfully complete the number of hours of service that's required, they get something called a Siegel Education Award. And so that's a merit-based award that they can use to pay off college student loans, to use it for future education funding, and they can also gift it to a relative. And so, again, it's great to get on your resume. The Institute is actually an employer that validates and recognizes individuals that have come through an AmeriCorps program.
No, absolutely. And I think, as you were talking about that, I was just thinking about, that our mission of economic transformation and how all of these different pieces ultimately do contribute to that, whether that be the expanding STEM capacity and that, teaching, showing students those skills that they're going to need and those opportunities available, that's contributing to economic growth, whether that be helping employers engage with their next generation of workers, that's contributing. And even these AmeriCorps programs, that's helping our community thrive and helping everyone in our community thrive. And that contributes to economic transformation as well.
Absolutely. We've had several of our AmeriCorps members where we've placed them in a school setting. It helped validate that, yes, I want to go into education. I want to be a teacher, what parts of that they liked, and help them really make better career decisions. And they had some funding to help them achieve their degrees by participating in AmeriCorps. The other kind of learning opportunity that we really are hoping to get the community engaged in is something called the Wonder Community. Many communities, many of which are supported by a public university. A lot of public universities will provide these lifelong learning institutes. Many of them, though, are directed at senior citizen population. We wanted to kind of put our spin on it here in Southern Virginia. So we created the Wonder Community, and we really envision that to be a lifelong learning community that's multi-generational, where we have young people and we have working adults and we have retirees coming together to learn, and whether that's a new technology or something like Canva or how to go fishing or, coming to do some painting or learn how to use the Cricut machine or understand some new technology or capability that's on their cell phone. to create a platform to support that, to enable everybody to, if they have a passion, to give them a space to empower everybody in our community to think about there's something you could teach somebody else. And there's probably something they could learn from you, that somebody wants to learn what you know. And so how do we give everyone a platform to share their passions, but also to suggest, oh, I'd really like to learn this. And it's not going to take, I don't need to enroll in a 15-week class. It's a 1-hour focused topic. And so you really walk away with a very clearly defined, during this 1-hour session, you're going to learn to do X. And so, again, creating a platform for that learning, that lifelong learning to happen. So we're really excited about that.
Right. That's been going on for a little over a year. Is that correct?
It absolutely has. Yep. Mm-hmm. We've had to, we had some staffing changes. We reinvigorated that. We've also designed that Wonder Community as a way that people can pay it forward. They can gift a membership to someone else. They can scholarship a membership for someone else. They can also, if you join as a member, you can designate 60% of your membership to any nonprofit of your choice. So it's also a way of positioning the Wonder Community really as a way to give back to other organizations that are doing good work in this community.
Right. No, that makes sense, and that's really cool. I think to go back to what I was saying earlier, it's very cool to see how all the different pieces tie together. That all of these different pieces, and that's the part that before I got here, I didn't understand. Is what do they do up there in the building on the hill? And it's that when I got here, I was trying to make sense of how all this stuff ties together. We have so many different programs, so many different offerings. How is all of that under one roof? But I think it all does tie back to that idea of economic transformation and economic growth. And that's the more that I'm here, it's cool to see all those different pieces and how they fit together.
I would say one example that I haven't touched on yet, and I think Caleb kind of addresses what you're talking about, is we assist with a program called REACH. It's a regional engagement to advance community health. It is a grant-funded initiative. It's a partnership with several of our healthcare providers in the region to address population health issues. So again, why is that important for economic transformation? Well, if your community is not healthy and doesn't understand a healthy lifestyle, they're not able to engage in the economy.
Right.
So again, and even for economic development, if our community is at the bottom of the community health rankings in the country, if companies are looking to come here, we want to show them a healthy community.
Right.
We want to make sure that we have access to food. We don't have food deserts. That we've got systems and partnerships in place to address our chronic health issues. That we are advocating for physical education for young people. And how important that is for their mental health. So again, we're engaged in the healthcare space, and some people might look and say, "Why is the Institute? You don't do healthcare. Why are you interested in healthcare?" Healthcare is really important as we think about economic transformation. So again, and our role in that is we don't want to provide healthcare, but we are interested in that coordinated care system in our region and what that looks like, and how we can bring people together. We can be a catalyst. We can serve as a convener to have some of these conversations and think about innovation and some potential strategies or solutions to really affect systems change.
Right. As you were talking, I was thinking about that word convener, and that's, Telly said that last week. We rarely work alone. And that's an important part of all of this as well. But Dr. Brown, that's all the questions that I have. Is there anything else that you would want to add, or you think it's any good parting thoughts?
I thank you for the opportunity. Our advanced learning team we're a community asset. And so you mentioned the word partnerships. We are always interested in, again, partnering with other organizations, and whether that's our K-12 system, that's our higher education institutions, employers. None of us can do this work alone. And so it's really these partnerships and coming together to address some of these challenges in our community. That's going to be the thing that makes a difference. So our team stands ready to assist in any way we can.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.